The association that's been in operation for 30 years, the profession itself and the myotherapy studies have been available a bit longer than that.
So we started out, I think we started out as a group of remedial massage therapists that really knew they didn't have enough knowledge to treat the people coming off the streets. So we just needed more training to be better muscle therapists. As time's gone on, it sort of seems naive and ridiculous now to say we were just treating muscles. So now it's a much broader profession looking at musculoskeletal care more generally. And that's because that's what the science has told us to become. We couldn't justify what we were doing before anymore because there's new information.
When I undertook my studies in '97, I didn't have the opportunities as to where. There was one training provider and that was it, and they were here in Melbourne.
We're just trying to transition from a sort of a practice that was shared within families to an evidence-based, science-based profession, and we absolutely had to improve our training in that. And the group that I was involved in the beginning, it was a very strong push. I think it still is, but it was a huge need for those of us back in the 90s. We wanted to be recognised with some credibility.
When I first started, nobody knew what myotherapy was. We were constantly having to say it's like remedial massage, it's like between physio, whereas now, in our clinic we have people calling specifically asking for a myotherapist.
Over the time, we've seen a number of training providers. We've seen the myotherapy course also go into the Bachelor of Health Science degree being offered by a couple of training providers, both in Melbourne, one of which also delivers it on a national basis.
It's just so much more professional now. I feel like the students that are coming out really know that they're doing a profession and they're really proud of it. I'm so glad I did it because we're really gaining some recognition now for what we do.
Myotherapy has grown a lot in the last, certainly in the 10 plus years that I've been doing it. I get far less people saying, what's that? What's myotherapy? People recognise it as a viable option.
The association and its growth and its changes over the years, it was originally developed because there was the realisation that someone had to support these guys, and so it started off very small, as many of these kind of things do, and over its time it's evolved, and we've also then started to introduce these things such as the professional development and really raise the bar on what our expectation of members, what they're receiving, what's being delivered.
It's important to provide the best care you can provide. So, traditionally healthcare's had a lot of, or complementary healthcare at least, has had a lot of passing on of information through the generations, but now we look to the medical literature, the scientific literature to decide how to practice best and give the best treatment techniques. It's not a perfect science, but it's always about the best practice you can do.
For any practitioner, it's not always upskilling and upgrading their knowledge, they're going backwards.
So the myotherapy professional, the Myotherapy Australia members are well trained and up to date in the current treatment techniques that are supported by the evidence.
What we do is so affordable and so valuable, and we get the right people. It's just about our industry actually broadening their horizons.
It's advantageous to a very large degree to have these high quality evidence-based courses, and the Myotherapy Association has really led the way of all the associations in reaching for higher standards.
Being part of the association, I was part of it for 10 years, part of starting the professional development program with another lady, Tony Monahan, who since passed away, was my mentor. If it wasn't for her and the professional development and the mentoring and nurturing that I got from her, I wouldn't be where I am today. Unless you're learning and growing, you're really nothing.
I was a competitive swimmer for many years and ended up stopping or retiring from swimming because of some shoulder injuries, and I had a lot of different therapists and treatments over the years, and I had the best results from a myotherapist who works with our swimming team, and I thought she had a pretty good job. She got to travel with the swimming team and go to some mostly warm places and set a treatment table up, and I've always enjoyed helping people. Just as a general thing that I like to do, but this is a way that I can do that for a career and in a lot more meaningful way.
When people ask me, how did you end up at the Olympics? How did you end up doing all these things? Because I just took the professional development on.
I applied for and got into the Bachelor of Health Science Myotherapy, which at the time was the only degree myotherapy course. There's now two of them. started work straight away after that. I've worked in a multitude of other clinics. So I worked in a physio clinic for a while. I spent 2 years living and working in the Caribbean, in the Cayman Islands, again as a myotherapist, but in a physio clinic. And then now I've had my own business, Muscle and Move Myotherapy, for 4 years. We're very fortunate as health practitioners to be able to do, it's a choice that you can make. It feels great having my own thing. It's not that I do things drastically different, but I can do it my way and provide a service that I think is a good form of myotherapy, and I think I do a good job of it.
I was just thinking this morning, why do I do it? The only reason I do it, it's never been for money or career. It's been because I like helping people.
I just love the dynamic of you change someone's pain and you make them empowered about how they feel. They're then going to go home and go, I'm not broken. This is just something we need to get through.
I see a lot of clients who I'd classify as having chronic pain, so long-term conditions, and quite often it's lower back pain. That's just the most common one we have. And often by the time they get to me, they might have seen 3 or 4 other different therapists, maybe a GP, maybe have consulted with a surgeon as well, and they're still looking for that answer or for that relief. And I really enjoy helping those people, because if you can get them to come back in the next week or in a few weeks' time and say, hey, I can pick up my grandson now, or I can do my gardening, or I feel better, you're not just helping their pain, but you're helping them with their life.
I have a patient who was in chronic pain for 20 years, came to see me last year on a referral. So I squeezed him in and he was in tears within 5 minutes. He'd been in a pain cycle for so long. I knew I had to get him out of that, and no matter what treatment I did, I knew I could do that. That was the easy part, but it was about the language that I used with him.
Persistent pain particularly, you can't just treat muscles, you have to treat the person with the muscles in the context of their life.
I know what to do with your shoulder. However, you're not broken, and we really unravelled it, and the guy's like a different person. He got a new job in 60 days of us meeting, and that's the stuff that makes you feel good, not the money.
Most people have muscle pain, and that muscle pain can restrict their quality of life and what they can do, how well they can do it, and I think that's where myotherapy kicks in, and if the pain is muscular, we can help.
Life-changing stuff that you can be doing in that situation.